quite the same as it did before, but I think you should prefer the way it functions now. So by default, they are in PC interactive mode, which means this is turned into a touchpad to manipulate your computer. Your finger will work on it, or the pens. You might get a little bit better response from the pens than you do from your hand or finger. They pick up multiple touch, 10-point touch. So if you're a handy talker like me and you stand very close, you may make things happen behind you. There's a sensor reading down from the top, and so it picks up a little ways out from the board all the time. So if you notice things moving around and shifting on you, it could just be that your finger standing too close to it. As soon as you hover close to the screen in this mode, you should grab a hold of your mouse and then just be able to do any of your normal manipulations. So if you're in a Google document, you could, let's go to a Google document. And right here, it's popping up tablet PC inputs. If I clicked on that, it would pop out and I could write here, and it's mostly assuming I want to put something in a search. So anytime an input spot pops up for you, you'll get this, and you can switch from the writing on. This is really tall. To a keyboard like your smartphone. So you don't have the button to access a keyboard, but it should automatically come out like that when there's.
Does that pop up right now? So you can put it.
Yes, it does. You can move it wherever you want.
Oh, okay.
And I think I got it behind. And if I don't want it at all, I can just put it away. And it's just gone back up here again. So you could move it around your screen if you want it in a different place. And definitely if your smartboard's this high, you probably want it coming in lower. Now, PC interactive mode, you're not seeing any of those toolbars on the side. I can't take the pens and write on this, and that's what the software is installed in your computers for. So it used to automatically open when you started your computer. Epson Easy Interactive Tools would open every time. And from what I've seen, most of that's been turned off. And it might have been you because you weren't using it and it wasn't working right, and you're like, turn this off. I don't want this opening every time I start my computer. Or depending on when it was installed, they actually stopped making it force open. So if you want to be able to write on this with the ink markup, you're going to want to open the Easy Interactive Tools. That being said, you can use the PC Interactive this way using the open, manipulate, the keyboard pops up here for input. Like I said, it worked for a Google search. I'm not sure why the Google Doc wasn't recognizing why it wasn't recognizing it. I can definitely look into it though. Now, let's close this for a second. So if you haven't moved it, it should pop up on your desktop. If you don't see Easy Interactive Tools on your desktop, do a search in your programs for it, which is what I did in the computer lab to discover that it was not there. If you type in Epson, it should pop up immediately. And because it's bugging me, I'm going to try it again.
There, it worked.
And it worked here too, and then I can do the enter also and run the search. I pull up emails about it. Little checkbox that says do not display. See where I'm making it move because I'm too close to it again. So do not display the home screen when Easy Interactive Tools has started. If I just uncheck that, this would pop up now when you start your computer and you'd automatically have it open. Or you can check it off if you don't want it doing that, and you can always open it with a double click. Desktop annotation, just put that away at the bottom, and this is where I'll be able to choose a pen and draw. This is not automatically saved, but it can be by using the little save button up here. So when you save ink that you've written, it's basically taking a screenshot and saving this as a layer over top of it. So it saves them as Easy Interactive Tool files. You can also save it as a JPEG or a PDF bitmap image, so they can be put into a slideshow or whatever afterwards. If you want to be able to interact with it again, you're going to save it as an easy interactive file, because then you'll be able to erase, draw on it again. If you just want to be able to save it for later and need to keep a record of this, you can save it as a PDF or a PNG. Keep it, take a screenshot, put it in your Google Classroom for students to have if they missed a day of notes or whatever. By
But
default,
it'll save, sorry, Ange, it'll save the background and what you.
yeah, it's taking a screenshot of your whole screen and then whatever you wrote on top of it. And it's automatically, you have a folder called Easy Interactive Tools on your computer. So by default, it will save there, but you can choose to put it in your drive or somewhere else on your computer. That's up to you. I'm not going to save that on Dean's computer. When I've been writing all over the screen, or students have been up writing, this is responsive to 2 pens at one time. So you can have 2 kids up doing a problem or something at the same time, and it will recognize both pens in different colors. They are color coded. This style has a tiny line on them, yellow and blue, just to keep them separate. It's just basically how the projector tells them apart. And then if you have an older model, they're just a little button on the end that's colored. So this toolbar is fairly straightforward. If I want to just switch into mouse mode, I can touch the mouse. It's asking me, do you want to get rid of because we're going out of annotation mode. So it's even reminding me, whoa, before you do this, you're going to lose what you wrote on the screen. Do you want to clear the screen? I could say no, and it's not going to get rid of it. I should still be in mouse mode. Oh, I put them away. You're going to draw out a box. And select a section, duplicate it, clone it. So this is some of the features that Smart actually contains within the notebook software. And I could be doing this here on the desktop. I could be doing it on something, on a Word document, in a Google document, wherever. So that's the select. I can put a text box in if I want to have proper typing. The keyboard input comes up automatically. We're going to look in the settings and positive we can change the default to that to the bottom so it's not constantly being dragged. And a little bit of font options in here to change, and then this would come in as actual text. Let's try it. So notice it knew when I grabbed on the toolbar that I'm using it as a mouse. But as soon as I got close to the writing area, it thought it was a pen. So those issues that you were having before, if you had them, or you were writing, you thought you were manipulating, and then you thought you were manipulating, it shouldn't happen anymore. Oh, I didn't recognize that because I've got a mark there.
So how are you doing that now? Like, what are you doing? That's your delete button?
Yeah, it's not working though. Because I don't know if I think I have a line there. Maybe not. Maybe it's telling me where to. It's moving all this stuff. So there it worked. Hold on, I'll have to check that out again. So I can insert a little text box on top of whatever we're working on or displaying up here also. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen now. So you have an eraser, big, small, that would work just like here. I think, I'll check this. One of the default settings it used to be was it automatically would recognize this as a pen and your hand if you used it as an eraser. So that's something that's set up in the settings, that it automatically knows that this is erase and that the pen is writing. If you just want to get rid of everything, there's also a clear the whole screen button, and that'll just get rid of all my ink marks. This little guy here we'll just lock this toolbar in place so it's not popping in and out if you want it to stay. The toolbar can be moved the other side if you like. Notice that also when you move it like that, even to make life easier, they just put a pop-up over here. Oh, maybe that's not gonna work for me. Should pop out. So you shouldn't see that extra toolbar with the pens. That was the PC free. If you ever turn this thing on without your computer being on, you'll get that. It's a more basic toolbar. It doesn't have the mouse, it doesn't have the pointer because you're just using this as a digital whiteboard. But if you're in that mode, you're not saving anything because the computer has to be turned on. So everything you're doing in the mode that they're in now can be saved just by using that little button. And like I said, it'll ask you, if you try and close it out, it'll say, did you want to save your changes? So that's handy. This top toolbar you can leave there, or you can close it if it's in your way and you're not using it. It opens up again just by double clicking and opening the easy interactive tools. We're in PC interactive. You also have just whiteboard mode available here. So this is where you can create, well, basically like a slideshow. So create slides on the side. Show my page list, we've only got one page. So this is where I could do notes, have student work or whatever, and then save it as a file. And you could have as many pages of this as you wanted. With the text input and all these toolbar options, awesome. If you have a document camera hooked up to your computer, you can quick display what it's showing just by clicking this button. And then in here.
Does anyone have a document camera? No? Yes?
Couple of videos. And then in here, there's just some extra tools that you might use. So a zoom, this is the zoom. We just draw the box. I took whatever I drew around and put it up in the middle of the screen. There is a flashlight. So this is a spotlight. By dragging on the gray, you can make it bigger or smaller. And in the middle, whoop. I don't know. I would have to get a mouse mode. I see it's still doing funny things to me.
You're trying to just move it around.
Yeah, it should move just by grabbing in the middle, but we're in select. So it's still. All right. Screen shade is coming from the bottom up. So I think they had that in Smart Notebook too, where you could cover up. Is everything just disappeared now again? Yeah, so if I sit here and it's not working with the mouse, this is a computer communication error, not the projector. Oh, now it's back.
Just moved it. It didn't slide it up and down like a shade, right?
Yeah, it's just, but the computer was frozen and now it's unfrozen. So now it's working.
Okay.
No?
I know.
I don't have lots of patience when things don't. I wouldn't have given it very long before I would have taskman, shut it down, reboot. Just recognizing, like I said, that's if you're up here and it's doing absolutely nothing, you go back to the computer and you're having the same troubles with the mouse, then it's a computer problem, not an interactive problem. These should communicate with your computer really, really well. So that was the screen shade. It goes up and down. Some of these other settings in here, I'm not a user of. So the print, I assume would be to print something that you print your screen. And there was a shortcut to this input panel in there. It looks like a little keyboard. And then some settings. So this is where you can change, if you prefer a square spotlight as opposed to the circle I was showing, you could change that. You could take off the drawing tool. The right click refers to the button on this. The button on this does not turn this on. It's a right click for your computer. So you can decide what it does. This one's set to open this. You can also set it, I liked having mine set to change to mouse mode so that I could just, it was just the button in your hand to flip back and forth when you were doing both. Although the interactivity works on anything that can only be clicked. So if you were like manipulating in Photoshop or something like that, where you would be back and forth between a pen and moving things around, that might be handy. I think opening the drawing toolbar is handy too, or you can make the pen switch between pen and eraser, or you can set it to clear your screen. So that's an individual preference you can set. And that, as I said, refers to the button on here. You can change the color palette. I don't even know what color palette. Sorry?
It probably won't change.
Yeah. We'll give her a go. You can change it up. And then we have the auto clear screen, or we could turn that off. If you want your pen automatic, always the default when you pick it up, do you want it to be thin or thick? You can set that there also. And there's more settings that I'm not gonna go into lots of detail, but you can change, like, if you're saving a lot of screenshots and you always want them to be in a folder, you can go in here and set where they always go. So as I said, it's that easy interactive folder that was automatically set up for you when I'm sure there was a sign that said no students down here. So you can also, if you always want them to be a JPEG and you don't have to pick every time, you can set those default save settings up in here also. And they've got actually two different places. So if you want to save your whiteboard saves, that's like those with the slides on the side, and you can have many, many pages. You can put them in a different place. Right now, they'll all go into the same folder. This is some camera settings if you have a document camera set up, or if you happen to be using the webcam, where those videos or images would get saved. Not videos, just images. My misspoke. And then here's where we can move the bars around. So we can decide if we always want it on the right or the left when we open it. And if we want it on the top or the bottom when we open it, we'll switch this one to bottom for fun. We're not going to look at projector settings because that is IT stuff. Oh, it's showing what the pens do here at the bottom. That's something. So I believe the software set up all the time. That was another issue we were having. We had like version 2 point something on some computers, and then we're all up to 4.8 point something now with the most recent release. We qualify for free software. Part of the tech ticket was to make sure that those are updating all the time. So this stuff might, just like other things in tech world, change on you a little bit. That's because there's been an update. Make sure you're shutting your computer down every day at the end of the day so you get those vital updates that are very important. I think, one more piece is just that there are a couple of functions on the remote. If you walk around, and talk from the back of the room or somewhere away from it, you can't do a lot. There is a zoom function. Once I hit it, I can see there's a blue crosshairs in the middle of the screen. And then just hitting up, we'll zoom in on that spot. I'm going to zoom back out. And so I'll hit it one time. It's easy zoom, it's called. Now, once the crosshairs are up, I can move that by using the arrow buttons on here. This doesn't work as a pointer. Unfortunately, that'd be really nice. But you have to move it this way. But if I wanted to zoom in on this specific icon, move it over there, and then hit zoom, zoom, zoom. So that's when it does. It has a page up and down. It'll advance slides if you're in a PowerPoint or Google Slides by using the up and down buttons here. Volume control. It controls your projector volume. I don't know if it would control your speaker in room speakers. You guys would actually have to. I was just going to say I doubt it. So that would be speaker. It shouldn't be coming out your speaker. It should be coming out your speakers.
How do you control the volume on that then? The speaker, it's over at the side, it's attached to the wall there, it's a white box.
Okay. It's got a dial on it.
Okay, that thing there?
Yeah. Oh. So then you have your freeze button. That's, you're going to put something up here. You want to hold it here so you do something different on your computer. So you can freeze that there. Same as your smartboard if you had one before. There's an escape, and then there's also a pointer. The same thing, a pointer would be handier if it actually worked like a pointer. It just comes out, and then you can move it around with the arrows.
used, yes.
Yes.
I used to.
AV.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, absolutely. And you guys, like every time it's not being physically used, at least that. And it
And is
saves
this software
forward.
works with all the notebook stuff too, does it?
And does it work with like Word documents?
It should, you should be able to do anything on here that you're doing on your computer with the touch. I mean, it recognizes, like depending what programs you're in, it recognizes these kind of touch motions and stuff. So for zooming and zooming out, anything that you can do on a tablet, you should function on here really well too. I think that's probably the only parts of the remote that.
Would it be
Might
helpful if
use.
we like grabbed a map and put a map up and showed you how to do these things on something and save it? Like that slide thing I've never seen before where you could create slides on the side, and would that be a helpful example?
Like to create a slide.
Yeah, if we threw a map up and zoomed in on a map and circled something and decided we want to save it, or
Silly question, maybe talked about this before. What did you just do?
Yeah.
So no, you just click something on the remote.
Yeah, I zoomed out because I was still
Oh,
zoomed
out.
in
Okay,
from when I
so
was.
I thought you were changing the settings on.
No, I just looked up and I must still be zoomed in because I can't see the icons off the top. So that's on here. And I mean, that's wanted to know because if this gets laying around the classroom somewhere and someone gets it in their hand, they might be pushing buttons, especially if you're an AV mute, turn it back on and whoa, the remote does a few things. Okay. So I would have to save an image first. I'm not going to be. So I wouldn't actually do this stuff on the smartphone. I would probably sit at my computer and do.
do you want me to grab one?
I think I can manage it. Let's give it. So I just used the right click. This is good. Actually, this would be good learning for me too to see how much I can do here. So I'm just gonna save this image to the computer. I like to save things on my desktop when I'm gonna be using them right away. It makes it easy to find. So that should be saved away. I'm gonna close this guy down. And we want it to go into whiteboard mode. So just opening it, we'll start a new file. And then from here, where's my insert?
That folder beside the document.
No, that'll be open. It's new. Oh, there it is. So in the tools. So we've got that little tool kit
So what are
on
you
the
trying to
main
do now?
toolbar.
Paste that picture.
I'm gonna put this picture in. Oh, that's a background.
Oh, printing and
Oh, yes, now I'm gonna hold my hand here. So these are some default backgrounds that you can put. It's closed. I still don't see. Oh, no, that's capture.
Beside text, what are the shapes on the
Oh,
toolbar
yeah.
beside?
Word. So that you can pick filled in, not filled in, different sizes of lines around them in a few different colors. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and soft. Just do a little bit of stuff on here. And then I can go and open my pages again, make a new page. I still have to. And this whole, if I hold the pen close, I should get a hover. Oh, it's that one, insert image, so we need. And we save that on the desktop here. Ooh, that was a big picture. So there he is, saved in this. If I save this file. So I can choose save, it's gonna save it as an easy interactive whiteboard file in that default folder, it's naming it 001, which we don't like. So with this thing, notice up top, if I hit deleting and then just cross this out, that's how you get rid of something you wrote if it misinterpreted. And we'll just call it a test. So it's not there. Can save it. Now I'm gonna go back to this mode.
What did you call the two modes again? There's we're in
Whiteboard mode and PC and PC interactive mode.
PC interactive right now.
So I'm just going to go find that. Epson projector. It's a long ways to go. Oh, it's not in there either. So I'm gonna search for this one. I would change the default folder to something easier to find if it was me. So I'm not gonna actually waste your time finding it that way. So from here, if we open this up, by hitting the little home button, I get this menu to come back. From here, it's gonna automatically go into my default folder. Not sure why I did that. And there's that file I saved. So as long as you go in through the interactive tools, you won't have a hard time finding it. And this is what we created. It's not Google. You do need to hit the save button every time a change is made, or else they will go away. And you can have as many pages in this as you want. Now if I go back to this mode, and we'll just use the desktop, say I did some work on here that I wanted to save, and I hit that save button. Same thing, I'm getting that input, it automatically wants to call it 001.
Why is that one still showing up at the top?
Oh, I maybe didn't save that setting when I changed it.
Okay.
Oh, right.
And I usually wouldn't when I'm on someone else's machine. I try not to go in and change everything up to suit me. So I'm just gonna leave this one as 001 because it really doesn't matter. And save it so you can see, and it's saving as an easy interactive. Wait, I don't want to save it as. So I'm gonna say this one is an image. I can just go ahead and clear that off. And then same thing from here. It's automatically looking for easy interactive files because that's, see, there I learned something. It's not going to find it if it's not an easy interactive. So if it's an image, we're gonna have to go into the folder, which now I know how to find that easy too. So, I went to the wrong place.
Clear screen, it's asking.
I would have clicked that do in future to show this probably also if I'm having issues. So now I can, my documents should be documents, and there it is. This is the folder. So this was that image I just took. And it's opened up as a JPEG on top of my screen. This is just an image preview, so I could insert that in a document, in a slideshow, wherever. It's a picture of what we had. Notice it's a picture of the whole screen. Yeah.
So we've got the whiteboard mode, we've got the PC interactive mode, and within the PC interactive, we've got the mouse mode and then the text mode.
Exactly. So sometimes it wasn't recognizing that I want to use the mouse.
Right.
That's lots of times it does, but that's the thing. If you get down there, you draw the dot, but it shouldn't have that box popping out here, and you have to switch, and the projector cycles off for a second. It's just click the mouse and go.
One other thing I noticed that you do, like you put the pen on, you hold it, then it gets the circle around. That never worked on mine. And
So
it's
I'm
like
not-
all gooey. What is that actually doing?
If you're holding the pen down,
Yeah, and then you get that little circle, what does that do?
that's like, I think, a selection spot.
Oh, okay.
It's letting it know that you're there.
Oh, so it's not actually doing,
Oh.
Maybe a menu.
Left click, right click. Let's try it again.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hold down should be a right click. I have the button set to that also. Yeah.
so
If you hold it for,
and that's your right click.
that's a right click.
So
when
you
try
can make the
looking for-
button on the pen then something else rather than the right click.
Because you can hold that down for the right
Okay.
click, that's right. And then that's where your copy and paste and stuff is, right? So it's just hold the pen down. Didn't get rid of anything, that picture just minimized at the bottom. Okay.
So Anne, should this hopefully stop it from being possessed?
Yeah,
It like used to flip through, seriously, I'd have a 30-slide presentation and it would flip through all 30 slides in about 2 seconds flat.
it should, yeah, no,
And I wasn't anywhere near the
I hope you
board.
don't have any, like, but when you do have issues like that, you're gonna be the squeaky wheel.
Of course, you wanna be.
And
I
know
get it.
I know people feel like, oh, I don't wanna bug the tech people, they've been here 3 times, but no, because we put stuff in it.
Still
Well,
We
the
need to make
frustrating-
sure it works
The
and
frustrating
you're,
part with that is I did let tech know and they came and it wasn't doing it, and they're like, well,
Oh,
there's
of
nothing I
course.
can do all the time.
And that's
Right?
always-
Because
that's
it
the
doesn't
other
happen
thing.
Because it doesn't happen all the time.
a good thing for me is I always have bad stuff happen when I'm up teaching to people so they can see that it's, yeah, it comes with the course. So they should definitely be working better.
This is already better. This is a lot
Yeah, well,
better.
that's, and because that was like, I was all over the district last year and I was on, what is going on with these things? And this one's different than hers. And then you get some teachers who have a little more tech skills, so they found different ways to manage with. So it's just nice
I
to
just
know
froze the screen.
they've all been done and it's working the way I would expect it to. These boards, I mean, if you are working on your whiteboard, you might have issues with the touch recognition sometimes. But with these flat boards, it should work well.
Okay,
Any other questions?
No,
got it.
And I can get rid of this guy just by hitting the closed door button there.
Go ahead.
Can I turn it
Yeah.
on from that box where the volume is, or do I have to turn it up?
Your sound?
The volume, sound.
Oh,
there's-
projector, that's just sound.
That's just sound.
So then I have to turn it.
But you don't have
No. I'm thinking for Tuesday, like, what are the chances of me getting? Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, you'll have to use the
okay.
the
But I can
button
turn
on
it on
here,
from
although, I mean, that remote should be in the building somewhere. So we could look around if there's some less used. Wonder where it migrated
Are they
to.
all the same? Did she borrow one from the-
That's what I was gonna say, or if there's like a classroom that somebody's not in full time right now, like you could borrow that one until.
Yeah, no, probably one of these classrooms.
Who moved, yeah, did someone move out of the room? Did it accidentally get packed in the desk stuff?
Yeah.
no.
I'm just kidding.
I actually didn't even move.
This is like.
Done recording?